All right, good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here. We'll call this meeting to order of June 19, 2026, the Board of Directors meeting. If we could ask Jenny if she would do our invocation this evening.
Shall we pray? Dear Heavenly Father, we just thank you for such a beautiful day today, that we could enjoy the sun and the beautiful weather that you've given us. We thank you for a great start to the summer, and we just pray for safety for everyone. We pray for happy, fun times at Sandy Pines. And I want to thank you for every member that's here, Lord. We know they're here because they care about this beautiful place. Help us to all work together. Help us to listen to you. Help us to discern with wisdom that can only come from you, Lord. Help us to also, as a board and as members, look at the big picture and look at Sandy Pines as a whole and look to the future for our families and for those to come beyond us. We just thank you, Lord, for being with us today. Be with those that can't be with us tonight, and help us to have a great meeting. In thy name we pray. Amen.
And if you would stand with me to do the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Kimberly, if you would do a roll call for tonight, please.
Corey Behrens. Here. Rick Day. Here. Colin Geibel. Here. Jenny Hager. Here. Kelly Johnson. Here. Larry Munger. Present. Paul Pepple. Here. Craig Van Beek.
Here.
And Scott Wyman.
Here.
All present.
Thank you. This is the time of our meeting where we have member comment on agenda items. Last time, if I was not clear on that, I'm sorry about that. So I tried to rectify that if you were part of that meeting. So this is your opportunity to make comments on our agenda items tonight. After this meeting's over, we always do the member Q&A. So that will be in there as well. That's the back and forth. But this time right here is only comments to the board about any agenda item that you see. So we'll open that up now. Please step up to the mic. Let us know who you are.
Jeff Colbert, D128. This is more of a procedural question. Will member comments and questions regarding the resolution 061926A and 061926B be answered before the board considered these resolutions? According to the agenda, member comment only occurs before the resolutions are discussed, while members' Q&A occur after adjournment. If the members wait till item 13 on your agenda, the board has already discussed the items and the meeting has technically adjourned. Will members have an opportunity to receive answers and clarification before the board discusses and acts on these resolutions?
Technically, this is only comment. While I understand what you're saying about having some questions answered, those two specifically, the vote here tonight, there may be some confusion in that. The vote here tonight would only to put that language on the ballot. So we are not passing those that they would go into effect. They would only be on the ballot. So historically, have not done that. Like I said, I kind of bent the rules last time to do a little bit of back and forth inside of that. But we really want to stay kind of in the model that we have. I know that's not a great answer for some of you, but I would rather just try to stay what we've had before and not stray from that if I could.
No, go ahead. Jill Grung, K259. I might have some questions in here. They're mostly observations, so I understand you won't answer the questions, but they're kind of sort of rhetorical. but maybe be answered later. My comments are in reference to Resolution B, 06-1926B. That's related to the Board of Directors and the changes to their eligibility requirements. After reading the resolution, this is my observations. It appears that this new language would take the transparency away from any board member that would want to be transparent by forcing them to sign the NDA, Code of Conduct, Code of Ethics, which, in regard to the Code of Ethics, can be changed at the discretion of the Board of Directors at any time. That this resolution also includes language related to removing of a board member, which currently, as I understand it, is by vote of the membership if there's some serious infraction. But this resolution has language related to removal of a board member if they're cited as harassing a member, a guest, staff, etc. These are the lesser offenses as listed in the resolution. But there's additional more serious offenses which should be sanctioned. But cited, that word cited is curious. Is that word another word for accused? And if not, then who determines if the cited person, board member, is actually guilty of the charge? I mean, that's very disturbing. I mean, should board members maybe wear body cameras to prove that they didn't harass somebody or get in a heated argument with somebody about some, item they're passionate about? Very curious. Then that brings me to the replacing of any board member who is removed from the board for violation of any of these. Currently, the board can appoint to a vacancy on the board somebody who got a lot of votes in the last election cycle, or appoint somebody of their own discretion. But if this resolution is passed as written in time, and it could be a very short period of time, the Board of Directors could be filled with appointments of the administration / the board's choosing, and the annual board elections to the Board of Directors would basically be for show only. And those are my comments.
Thank you. Please step up.
Holly Bohr, K77. I'm actually going to piggyback on this one because I just had some questions in regards to it, and mine actually I would like to have questions answered. So I have two questions. One is resolved around this resolution, and the other one's in the other resolution. Under our current bylaws, Article 8, Section 4, provides what a director may be removed by vote of the Sandy Pines membership at an annual election or special election calls for that purpose. That authority currently rests with the members who actually elected that director. This proposed amendment appears to create a separate process by which a director may be automatically removed is determined that they no longer meet certain eligibility requirements. And according to this new language, you can go back 5 years. So, which is saying that can go back 5 years. I'm going to just make sure I'm correctly reading this. So I guess what I'd like to know is, can the board explain how this proposal protects the rights of us as members? This is our privilege to vote you guys in as directors, and I'm understanding this proposal actually puts it back on you guys are able to remove somebody that we have placed in office. And so this, let's say we're going to fast forward to August, we have an election, and we put somebody on board, and somehow they've been cited, or what the lady previous said to me is that they've maybe subjectional material, right, for that. How do you determine what due process looks like Is there going to be an appeal process? Are we going to be able to see what this looks like? And I think I'm a little concerned that the power left us and got placed back somewhere else where it really does. I mean, what's the point of the elections of that? And I understand there's rules with drunkenness or disorderly conduct or harassment. I understand that. But I want to know, are we looking at removing directors for simply asking questions for their fiduciary, asking hard questions that nobody maybe wants to answer, or feel like that they're asking things that they feel is important to them? Is that going to be cited as wrongdoing on that? That's my first one. So I'd like an answer for that one.
Yeah, I explained that already, I'm sorry. So continue on.
You explained that there's a due process?
No, I'm not answering questions at this point. This is
So we
only
just get to-
comment.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay,
sorry about that.
comments.
Sorry about the confusion.
That's right, and I can catch up with you later, but I'd like to know what the due process is. The second
And
one.
I'll touch on it.
Yep. So the second one is our capital investment fund resolution. After the town hall meeting, there was a lot of concerns about surrounding different areas, and I feel like this new resolution came out with a 15-year plan, financial plan, not a 25-year plan. And it also stated about holding a separate checkbook for the monies that are going to be collected. So I'm going to ask a question openly, because everybody's probably going to want to think about it. I want to know what happens between years 16 and 25 for the funds that are being collected. I'd like to know, and I can ask these questions to you later, I would like to know who's going to be responsible for the checkbook. I want to know about the interest that's being collected and what that's going to be used for, if it's going to go back to the project. I'd also like to know with that, with the account, if we're going to get updates on the account. And there's a big gap in there. I don't know where the finances are coming from years 16 to 25, but I would definitely like to know that as well. So that was part of it. And also, the wording has changed. I know there was a concern last week. Somebody used the phrase blank check. But the phrase in this new proposal that you guys are looking at voting on tonight to put and send over to us to be voted on in August states that if you have the ability to change the course of where the money goes if you run into, and I know that was something mentioned, if we have a leaky roof, we have to do that. But those questions are going to come up later from the public, is are we going to be brought before us to say that we're changing the course of where the funds are going? Thank you.
Thank you.
And I apologize, Jeff Gobert again, D128. My first statement was actually, it might be construed as a question, but it's a parliamentarian inquiry. Completely different than a question. And that mandates, according to Hoyle, that a response be given. Now, if you say no, that's cool. And if you say that's going to be tabled, that's cool. But I did not mean to open it up to the general population for questions. So mine was more, like I said, the parliamentarian inquiry. So I apologize.
No, you're okay. I will speak to that in a bit. When it's time, I will explain that too. So.
Bob Deckinga, 6101. I'm a little confused that you said we can ask questions, but you're not going to answer them before the meeting. And then I'm also confused that we make all the comments we want, but you're going to make the decision no matter what comments we make. I think you said after the meeting, after you conclude, then it's up for us to make comments. But then you've already decided once we've made something. We'd like to have answers to some of these. And this is one thought. I'm not sure if we're going 15 or 25 years. Is there anybody near over 60? Can I see the hands? Anybody over 70? If you're 75 and if you go 25 years, they'll be 100 years old when this thing is taken care of if it's 25 years. And you can't predict cost of living for 25 years. my comments.
Thanks, Bob.
Carol DeYoung, Site 0301. I emailed the board several times this week with zero response, including the president. I did speak with him earlier today. I noticed that you did change some of the parameters for the capital campaign, and I understand that, but you did not change the $650 that we are looking at. I emailed you a proposed phased approach for the increase in the dues that would be more palatable to the current members. If we go out 25 years, this is going to cost each member $22,500 each over the course of 25 years, and I'd like you to consider that and perhaps table your proposal for putting it on the ballot until you come back with a better number for us to look at.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I am Paul Woody from K298, and I am in support of the motion, or in support of the resolution regarding the board removal. But I would suggest that the removal part of that resolution actually be moved to the section 4 that someone else referred to, so it's clear that the board has action it can take for automatic removal, and yet the public or the members still have the ability to vote for a removal. I think the confusion already here was caused by that split. So it's more of a removal clause than an eligibility piece.
Thank you. All right. Seeing no one else, I will turn it over to Jeff for approval of new park members.
Okay, thank you, Craig. So, May sales and membership for 2026. We had 18 total new sales go through the park in May, 6 through the for sale by owner process, 11 through our Sandy Pines sales department, and 1 transfer of membership. We had 28 total new members come into the park, 5 in their 30s, 12 in their 40s, 6 in their 60s, 4 in their 70s, and 1 in their 80s. And that summarizes the sales for May 2026 for Sandy Pines.
I have a motion to accept the new members. All in favor say yes. Yes. Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Our May 2026 board minutes, I'm sure the board has had a chance to review these. Are there any adjustments or things we have wrong on there? All right, seeing none, I need a motion to approve the May 2026 board minutes.
Scott makes a motion to accept the minutes.
Second by Keeble. You got those? All in favor say yes. Yes. Any opposed, same sign. All right, we continue on. Finance, Kimberly.
All right, just bringing up my financial presentation here. There we go. All right, so for Sandy Pines Wilderness Trails, the monthly financial review for May 2026 year to date. Total revenue for the year to date is at $7.21 million. This is an increase of 0.02% from the prior year. Our total expenses is at $5.12 million, which is a decrease of 0.03% from the prior year. Overall net income is up $2.09 million, and that's an increase of 19.6%. Our total cash position is $5.78 million, and that is an increase of $1.5 million from last year. If you look at the graph on the bottom, the budget to actual, and this is based in millions of dollars, The gray bar graph is our year-to-date budget, so, I'm sorry, our fiscal year budget, so we'll eventually be working to catch up to that. And then the actual is our year-to-date as of this point in March. So you'll see each of these bar graphs continue to reflect closer to the budgetary numbers over the year. So overall, our net income is showing a high positive benchmark, but as a not-for-profit, we will close in closer to zero as these numbers change. So the 6-month review of revenue versus expenses, this is a good picture to kind of display where our revenue trend is over the 6 months in comparison to our expenses. You can kind of see the high trend of December, January, and February that starts off in October with the billing of the operational dues that comes in. And then in March is when the renewals are billed. And this is all based in order. The trend of this and the reason for the flow of that is to be able to be prepared for these expenses, as you can see that trend increasing as the season goes on too. So that's where the trend of that is, and you'll be able to continue to see that on the 6-month basis as I continue to share this graph over the season. Total revenue as of the end of May is $7.2 million. Again, and the key factors of that are resort services revenue, which is $5.2 million. Sales revenue is at $611,000. I'll kind of touch on that in the next slide a little bit. And then maintenance revenue is $548,000, and retail center revenue is $135,000. Our total expenses is at $5.124 million, and overall net income again is at $2.08 million as of the end of May 2026. The next chart kind of shows on a category basis the variance on the year-to-date mark from May 2025 to May 2026. So you can kind of see where we're doing in comparison to last year. Our resort income is up $182,000. Our sales income, as I said, I would mention, we're actually down about $110,000 compared to last year. We had a very slow start in the beginning of the season, actually during the off season, but this is looking like it's going to pick up and turn around. As we get into the season, we just are kind of watching it closely to see if we'll catch up to where we were last year. We did also note that our camping is down and our golf cart rentals are down. So again, we're kind of keeping an eye on that. Don't know if weather specifically had a factor in that, but we'll continue to watch that as the season goes on. We have had some good interest in camping over the last few weeks, so hopefully that trend will turn around as well. Maintenance income is up $97,000. A lot of that is based on the change in the renewal pump out plans, and you will see that trend down as the expenses related to that same service increases over the season, as we notice that that's a huge operational cost within the park. Retail income is down about $1,300. I do want to note though, overall, looking at the retail income, if you look at the new developments within the country store, the country cafe, and the coffee shop area, they are doing significantly well and are much above last year and seem to be a good attractive service within the park. So I think that's going to be a good trend for us this year, but there is a decrease in the laundry revenue for the month year to date, and the car wash, and that is really just a timing cycle from getting the reimbursement from the vendors and from those services. So we'll see that catch up next month. So overall total revenue is up about $111,000 compared to last year. Payroll and benefits, the cost is up about $12,000 from prior year. Again, we're continuing to adjust to the Department of Labor changes that are affecting us and the minimum wage markers. We stay very close to minimum wage, especially within our seasonal staff, and trying to maintain that within the limited budget that we have. Maintenance and upkeep, we are down about 287,000. So our maintenance department and staff has done a really good job at maintaining that and still keeping the park up to date. But we'll continue to keep that and hope we can reserve that as the season goes on. Utilities and insurance is up 99,000. This is a factor that we don't have much control of. But we continue just to adjust with that and work with it within our budget and look for areas. We are doing some reviews with Consumers Energy here again, just to see what areas we can do, and we always do regular reviews with our insurance as well to keep those costs as minimal as we can. And then last, supplies and miscellaneous. We are down about 21,000. So again, that's all staff focused. So I think the staff is focusing on that and trying to keep that down. And that brings our total expenses overall. And again, those were just highlighted areas within the financial statements, but overall total expenses is down 152,000. And that resulted in an overall increase of net income of 342,000. I just want to highlight the other note off to the side. Our cash position as of the end of May 2026 is 5.78 million. We are down about 622,000 from the prior month. We'll continue to see that go down because that trend I showed in the very first slide that shows the revenue increasing and the expense catching up is going to have an effect on the cash. But as of May 2026, our days cash in reserve is at 316 days. We would notice it being higher this time of the year, and we'll continue to see that slide down a little bit as the season goes on. But if you make note of the italics on the bottom, and that is our cost through the season. It costs $22,976 per day operational expense to keep this park operating. I have another note on the bottom for a not-for-profit organization. A very conservative approach, which is what we want to maintain because of the type of business we are, is to be at 270 plus days. Again, we're at a higher mark right now in the season just with the way our cash flow goes, and that's going to drop down. But our target by the end of the season is to stay within that 270 days. This is a common benchmark for seasonal organizations or organizations with significant infrastructure or could have uncertainty with exposed economic changes. So overall, we're sitting at a really good place for May 2026 as of this point, or I should say a conservative place, and we'll just continue to watch it as the season goes on. And that concludes Sandy Pines.
Do any board members have any questions for Kimberly? If not, I need a motion to accept the Sandy Pines Wilderness Trails May 2026 financial statement. All in favor say yes. Yes. Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Kimberly, continue on.
All right, for Lake Monterey Golf Course, our monthly financial review for May 2026 year to date, total revenue is at $388,000. We are down about 13.62%. There is a significant reason for this. I'll get to that in the next slide. Our total expenses is at $295,000, and we are down about 7.38% from prior year. Total net income is at $64,900, and that's a decrease of 35.24% over the year. And then our cash position is at $981,000, and we are up $189,000 from prior year. I do want to just make a note of that. Our cash position we're trying to focus on and keep that reserve there as we have the big the big irrigation project that we're going to be facing in the spring of next year. So we have been retaining some of that cash. We made a little bit smaller payment on the note payable to Sandy Pines at the end of the last fiscal year. We still made a payment, but we reduced it a little bit so that we had the cash to go forward to face that irrigation project as it comes forward. The budget to actual, if you look at the bottom, again, this is similar to Sandy Pines' graph, but the budget is our annual budget. It's the budget we're going to look to reach by the end of the year, and then the green bar graph is our actual year to date. So you'll continue to see that close in to each other by the end of the season as well. And then for some May highlights, and you can kind of see this nice circle. It's going to change as the season goes on. So right now, the membership assessment, our total revenue is at $387,000. The member assessment is at $216,300. Currently, at the start of the season for the golf course, that makes up 56% of the profit of the golf course. That's going to shrink down in percentage as the green fees trickle into the year-to-date numbers. Total green fees as of the end of the month for year-to-date are $96,000. Membership sales, so these are memberships that are bought in from public. Even some members buy memberships at the golf course based on how much they golf. That's at $36,000. And the pro shop sales, $2,000. Food and beverage, $13,000. Beer and wine, $20,000. Events and banquets, $660,000. Total expenses was at $295,000, and overall our net income is in still a positive state, May year to date, of $64,000. And the last slide here, the membership assessment. So when we looked at the total revenue, I stated that that is down from prior year. That is because of the reduction in the member assessment from this year to last year. We reduced the member assessment for the golf course from $150 to $125. So that affected the operational income, $54,000, and that's going to be up to the golf course to make that operational income up. Green fees are up $12,000. Memberships are up $6,000. Pro shop sales are down about $8,000. And food and beverage is up $6,000. Beer and wine is down $1,000. And then events and banquets, we didn't have much in there anything in there last year, but we have a lot of interest and a lot of big events coming through the golf course, which will be good to see. Payroll and benefits is up $16,000. Our course maintenance is actually down $35,000 right now. But there are some invoices that will be coming in as they're working on some repairs within the golf course. But currently they're down, and we will see that continue through the season. Utilities and insurance within the golf course is down or close to where it was last year, just down $1,000. The food and beverage cost of goods is down $1,000. 1,800, and the marketing income is up about $305. So total expenses overall is down $23,000. Net income, when you look at this year to last year, is down $35,000, but $54,000 of that is part of the reduction of the member assessment. So overall, the golf operations is above where it was at last year. And then the cash position, again, we're at $981,000. We're down about $10,000 from April. That's just because of activity within the park. And our days cash and reserve as of the end of May is at $608,000. We'll again see that kind of dwindle down as the season ends, and especially as that irrigation project takes place. And then last, just thought I'd make note, the expense per day, operational expense per day for operating the golf course is $1,614. And that's on an annual basis. So even though the course is closed, that's reflected on an annual basis, 365 days. So that overall concludes my review for Lake Monterey.
Any questions by a board member for the Lake Monterey Golf Course May 2026 financial statement? Seeing none, I need a motion to approve.
So move, Corey. Second, Scott.
All in favor say yes. Yes. Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Comments by chairperson. So thank you all for being here. Oh, I missed the budget. I'm sorry. I was going to skip right by you there. My fault. It's kind of important.
That's okay. So I don't have a lot to share on the budget as of right now, and even sharing this information. This is a very rough draft, so even showing that, I did highlight the 3.3% is the CPI increase per the bylaws that will be reflected on the dues and assessments for next year. But there are still other areas within here that we will be looking at. This is a very rough draft. So overall, we will continue to look at that. I have shared that with each management team. We're so early in the season to see where the trends are going to be, where everything's going to happen, but we look at this very diligently with every manager, bring it to the finance committee, and bring it to the board. In the past, all of that was done just with the management team on the monthly basis, but we bring all of that review to the finance committee and the board of directors on a monthly basis until the final review in August. So that's where we're at as of the end of May, and we'll continue to look at that as the season goes on.
All right, thank you. Sorry, I got too rambunctious there. I appreciate all of you being here as we talk about some of the things on this list. You know, some of the things that we'll cover are things that we hope benefit members. As we talk about the capital investment, it's always a touchy subject when we talk about people's money, right? That always gets touchy. But what I would ask as we go through this process tonight and in the weeks ahead as we get to a vote is educate yourself, ask questions. Don't get too lost in social media or a false narrative. But beyond, I would ask this, still wave at each other. Still say hi. That's one thing that our nation, this world, is so separate. We've come to the point that if we don't agree, we can no longer be friends. That's true. That's reality. So what I would ask you, as passionate as we are on one side or the other, thank you for the passion, but I would ask you just to treat each other well, and no matter what happens, to continue to wave, to continue to smile at each other. Don't be what it's like outside of these gates. That's what I would encourage you to do, is treat each other a different way. Be different. You know, we start our meeting off with an invocation. Why? Why? We could just skip the prayer, right? It would just be a little bit shorter. Well, Sandy Pines doesn't really have the word Christian in the title, but this is a Christian place. Amen? It's reality. So as Christians, we are supposed to be different in how we treat each other. We can disagree. That's okay. But after you disagree, go over to Scott's and have a tasty beverage. Go over to Rick's and enjoy a campfire. So don't let those things separate you. That's all I would ask you, just to consider that. Jeff?
Yeah, thank you. Well said, Craig. Father's Day weekend. So happy Father's Day to all the fathers and father figures out there. You know, families are blessed to have father figures. You know, May we celebrated Mother's Day. So we got a lot of activity going through the park. We've got a car show going on. We have some concerts. It'll be busy, but back to Craig's point, you know, even when we walk out of here, continue to just go have fun. This is supposed to be our happy place. We're a family. Families have conflict, but we can move on with that conflict and still go out and have a good time. Speaking of conflict, let's talk mailroom for a minute. How about that, right? Just happened to go down there a couple of times. Had some members come into my office. I think the technical term is it's a train wreck. There's packages there that are all over the place. It's a mess. And as we've had some staff take a look at some of the packages, I went down there, I took a look at some packages. We got a couple of things going on. One, from an administration standpoint, we are trying to work with Amazon. Amazon is just dropping packages all over the place. There's packages in that room that don't even belong to Sandy Pines members. So what are they doing there? I don't know. So we are going to ask that by the end of next week, because anybody know what's happening next week? Anybody hear Prime Days? Right? I think that's coming up real soon. So it's a train wreck now. It'll be a tsunami of packages there. But here's what we need to do. From an administration standpoint, we're trying to deal with Amazon. Their people are just dropping packages all over the place. That's unacceptable. What we are also seeing is we're also seeing members' names that don't have mailboxes in there that are getting their mail dropped. You cannot do that. It needs to stop, please. We are going to ask, we'll put a rave out as well. We'll put some communication out, clean that mail room up. I think I've had some staff members 2-3 weeks in a row now take a look at packages, still sitting there. So it needs to be cleaned up by the end of next week. And then at that time, we're going to start taking packages, we're going to start putting them in totes, and we're going to call FedEx, Amazon, and everybody else to come pick up their packages and return them. Because right now it's a safety issue. I had a couple of nice ladies come in that almost, fell going in there. We just can't have that. So please be respectful. If you do not have a mailbox, do not get a package delivered there. Your options are go to Wayland, go to Dorr, go to Granville, Jennison. I know it's a drive, but if you do not have a mailbox there, please do not get your packages delivered there. If you get them delivered there, we're going to start looking at this on a regular basis. We will call and we will have them returned back. Okay? Thank you. Site cleanup. So again, the park looks awesome. The maintenance team does a great job at the beginning of the year, opening, make it look great. Members get back. You guys are doing a great job looking at, getting your sites cleaned up. Everybody's excited. The park looks awesome, so thank you. A couple of years ago, we got some feedback from members. Hey, why am I getting a citation? It's like a surprise. So start giving us warnings. We've been doing that for the last 2 years. Again, I heard on social media that people are upset that they're getting warnings now, but we were asked to give warnings, so we're giving warnings. There was 260 warning letters that were sent out by the park inspector's office. 260, okay? And so here again, everybody that's here should know really April 15 is when we open, and that's kind of when the clock starts ticking to June 10. Well, I didn't get it's June 10, I didn't get a warning. Your warning was in the rule book, April 15 is when it starts. Now the good news is, except for the 150 that are going to actually get cited for violations, 150 violations have gone out, so there's 110 people that took the warnings and cleaned everything up. So thank you for that. But the park inspector's office has done a really good job with that. So the park looks great. Keep it going. And it's not a one-time event either. This is throughout the season. So keep the momentum going. Library. Anybody use the library here? Awesome. Yes. So we have a library committee, and that committee does a phenomenal job of getting us books, taking care of that room, getting some events and some activities. They have reading clubs, they've had authors come in, things of that nature. One thing that we lost many years ago was a kids club for reading, where you get a little bookmark and you check off how many books, and then the kids can go get, I think, a free slushie or something along that lines. They brought that back. They've done a real good job. They need your guys' help. It looks like we've got a ton of books that are just disappearing and not being returned. I mean, the committee was earlier this week. After that committee went down and took a look at it, we've got rows of books just disappearing. There was evidently one or two individuals that are bringing in totes and loading up books and taking them and not returning them. So if you happen to see somebody, not necessarily in a hoodie or anything like that, but if they're carrying totes of books out of that library, please, let somebody know, because the books are free, but it's on a lend basis. So you take one out and then please bring it back. So the ladies do a great job. We just need to give them a little help. Let's see here. Almost done. Weeds in the lake. So we've talked about this, I think, last time as well. Lake Committee is working on this. We've got our it's called PLM. They do the treatment of the lake. We've been sending them pictures religiously of what's going on with their lake. Again, zebra mussels, filtering it, cleaning it, light goes further down, photosynthesis. They actually came back to us and said, we have weeds that we in the lake that they haven't seen in 15, 20 years because of the clarity of the lake. So back in 2018, 2019, there was a survey. I started in 2019. The lake is murky. Let's get it clear. Well, guess what? We got it clear, and now we got some weeds. So we are ramping up the treatment of that. We've had an extra treatment that was done earlier in June. It looks like we're going to probably have another treatment done in another week or so. These treatments are regulated by Eagle. So there are some things that they can and can't do. They can and can't get close to the shore. They can't spray around some areas. So they're trying to work within those parameters. But as those weeds die, they're going somewhere, right? So we have been picking them up in the past. We cannot do that any longer at the shoreline. We're going to do the same thing that we're doing. I think at the lake committee the term was inlander. I don't have a lakefront, so I'm an inlander. So the leaves, we don't rake our leaves to the side of the road and then have maintenance come and pick up our leaves. Take the weeds, dry them out if you need to, bag them, take them up to the curb, and maintenance will pick them up on their regular routes. But the weeds are so prevalent right now that we have had, they call him the Sandman, right, that's raking the lake, or the above the water line. We can't go inside the water line. Trying to pick up some weeds, but he's going 10, 20 feet, picking up a bundle, 10, 20 feet. We can't do that. So bring them up to your curb like you do the leaves, and maintenance will pick those up then. And the last thing I have is garage sales. Woohoo! Garage sales start the 27th. We were asked, hey, can we sell on Friday and Saturday? Can we change the parameters a little bit? Back in the day, it was set up Friday night, sell Saturday, take down Saturday night, you're done. It went well last year, so set up Friday, you can sell on Friday and Saturday. You're still limited to, you cannot go in the green space. We did have some emergency vehicles that, had to go through. We got a lot going on with garage sales, so you still can't set up in the green space. But we're going to go back to what we did last year. It worked well, and we got some positive comments from the members and public safety and the staff. So that's all I have. Happy Father's Day. Thank you for being here.
Moving to old business, Jeff, you want to touch on the capital investment project?
Yes, love to. So we've already heard some comments about, the capital investment. So we've had 2 town halls. And again, what the board is reviewing today is the ballot, right? Is it going to go on the ballot or not? We've done this on a regular basis with ballot items. If they go on the ballot, we continue to have town halls. There's another town hall slated for the capital investment. That's July 18. We will continue to share the information, share the data, educate members. Facebook is not where you get the information. So we had a really good turnout. Thank you for coming. We did have some really good comments. If you can't make the town hall, I think we had a member already state, she came in, walked through some of those things, asked the questions. I have an open door policy. Kimberly has an open door policy. We spend a lot of time trying to make certain that members get the right information to make an educated vote and an educated decision. Please come in, and if we're busy, I don't have any issues scheduling time. But the cross-functional team that we've had, long-range planning, finance, operations, board liaisons, third-party engineering company, we've been working on this really for about 2 years, and this is kind of where we're at, and we're going to continue to give you more information to educate you.
The resolution 051526B shade structures, will you touch on that?
Yes, let me pull that right up. This is B. So this came to the board last month. So a lot of the resolutions that came last month, these two 051526B and 26C, those were tabled from last month. We're trying to align our rule book with Eagle. The Eagle structure letter came out in March. So this was reviewed last month. We took it back based on member feedback, and we reviewed it again with our operations team. We talked about it at our work session with the board. The hang-up on this last month was confusion on item number 2, maximum of 2 structures with a maximum of 200 square feet each are allowed on a membership site. This includes any configuration as well as roof area. 400 square feet? Yes. It's 400 square feet. That's what the structure letter from Eagle has allowed us to do. The other one that passed was your sheds and your garages can go up to 400 square feet, but you still have to follow the setbacks. You still have to, so just because it says there's 400 square feet or 2 structures at 200 square feet each, you still have to be in your setbacks. You still have to have it flagged. The park inspector's office still has to approve it. If it can't fit, it can't fit. It won't get approved. Your permit won't get approved. So this language is accurate.
All right, any questions for Jeff from the board on this? We've gone over this a couple times now. The first 3 whereases, I'm going to pass because I have a few things I have to read tonight. So those are pretty redundant. I can do it at some point. If someone really wants me to read those first 3, I will, but I will read from now, therefore be it resolved, because that language is a little bit different on each one. So this is resolution number 051526B, resolution to amend rule book handbook. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Directors of Sandy Pines Wilderness Trails Incorporated does hereby approve the following amendments and or addition to the rules and regulations relating to Section 3, items requiring permits, subsection P, all shade structures, including portable pergolas and gazebos, Sandy Pines Rules, Regulations, and Bylaws, Handbook, page 41. Number 1, portable shade structures must collapse. No non-collapsible legs allowed. Purpose is to protect people from the sun and outdoor elements. Number 2, maximum of 2 structures with a maximum of 200 square feet each are allowed on each membership site. This includes any configuration as well as roof area. Number 3, 10-foot height maximum or variation permit may be requested to match current RV park model roofline if built and abutted to the RV park model unit. Number 4, setbacks must be 4 feet from the side and rear, 8 feet in front, and 10 feet from the road, effective June 1, 2026, or at replacement. Number 5, must not be attached to RV park model or other structures, must be freestanding. Number 6, must meet 4-foot unobstructed clear path per Eagle State of Michigan structures requirement. Number 7, must not have buried footings, augers, stakes, tie downs are allowed. Number 8, park permits are required prior to construction placement. Number 9, dual permit required for electric. Number 10, no vehicles or storage of items allowed in season, April 15 to October 15. Number 11, off-season enclosure and storage of items allowed, October 16 to April 14. Number 12, must remain open air in season. Pullback or retractable screens allowed, must be movable and not permanently enclosed. Number 13, all structures are prohibited in the green space area. Be it resolved that the Board of Directors of Sandy Pines Wilderness Trails does hereby approve this resolution. And there's a motion, the second, to approve the above resolution, which will take effect June 26, 2026. Do we have a motion for this? Kelly? We have a motion and a second. Kimberly, will you do the roll call for this, please? Say it again.
Discussion.
Sure. Larry, if you have something, go ahead. So I have to amend that. Number 4, Jeff, do you see what
Yep.
he's talking about?
Yep, I see it.
So the date would be June 26, 2026.
Correct.
Any other, anything else that anybody sees or any conversation? All right, roll call.
Kelly Johnson. Yes. Larry Munger. Yes. Paul Pepple. Yes. Craig Van Beek.
Yes.
Scott Wyman.
Yes.
Corey Behrens. Yes. Rick Day. Yes. Colin Geibel. Yes. And Jenny Hager. Yes. All approved.
Resolution C, 051526C, screened and porch enclosures. Jeff?
Yes, so pull this one up. Discussion at our last board meeting was item 5. So item 5 originally read, it could be interpreted that if you're having a new and or replacement structure, it had to have HVAC in it. So we've separated these in the updated. So all new and or replacement structures abutted to the RV must have a separate thermal envelope. So you still have to have a separate thermal envelope. Your structure, your screen and porch has to be separate. Your park model trailer has to have separate thermal envelopes. If structure contains heating and cooling, it must have a separate thermostat and HVA head for the heating and cooling. So we separated that out. So you don't have to have it, but if you do, it has to have a separate thermal envelope and it has to have a separate HVAC head or thermostat.
All right, any questions on this from the board? Again, we've gone over this a few times. Let me read it. Again, I'll pass just the first 3 whereases, but this is resolution number 051526C, resolution to amend rulebook handbook. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Directors of Sandy Pines Wilderness Trails Incorporated does hereby approve the following amendments and or additions to the rules and regulations relating to section 4, items requiring 2 permits, subsection B, screen porch enclosures, page 42. Number 1, all structures in this section must be constructed of lightweight aluminum frame and have pre-engineered building plans with submitted drawings. Number 2, the plans drawings require all window and door openings with sizes and require at least 40% glazing in the walls. No more than 12 inches between each window and door in the corners of the room, as well as 36 inches from the RV to the first window or door. Lower kick panel height must be 18 inches to 36 inches while still meeting the 40% glaze requirements. Number 3, a maximum of 1 structure with a maximum of 400 square feet is allowed on a membership site and a maximum height of 1 inch or more below the RV drip edge. The structure can't be longer than the solid wall portion of the RV it is abutted to and a 12-foot projection from the side of the RV. Number 4, all structures are to be open and visible from the end to end and RV to outer wall with no built walls or enclosures within the exterior walls. No bedrooms, beds, or barriers are allowed. Number 5, all new and or replacement structures abutted to the RV must have a separate thermal enclosure. Number 6, if structure contains heating and cooling, it must have a separate thermostat and HVAC head for the heating and cooling. Number 7, a separate dual electric permit is required for electrical and HVAC. Absolutely no plumbing or water is allowed. Number 8, all awnings covering the enclosure must be no more than the solid wall portion of the RV it abuts to, plus 12 inches of overhang on all 3 sides of the room. Number 9, all structures must be at least 10 foot from the road or farther based on your lot line, with an 8-foot setback on the front lot line and a 4-foot setback on both sides and rear lot line. Number 10, structures will not be allowed to be built enclosing any of the RV's venting of furnace or hot water heater. It must meet Sandy Pines Township, County, PCI, and Eagle rules and laws, and must obtain all of necessary permitting from the appropriate governing bodies. Number 11, effective August 1, 2024, only one porch per site membership is allowed. Porch must be abutted to the main RV unit if space allows, and the inspector provides written approval. Existing sites with 2 porches will be grandfathered in from this date. Amended 8/1/2024, Resolution 062124B. Number 12, must meet 4-foot unobstructed clear path per Eagle State of Michigan structure requirements, which extend completely around the recreational unit and or abutted porch. Be it resolved that the Board of Directors of Sandy Pines Wilderness Trails Incorporated does hereby approve this resolution. It will be effective June 26, 2026. Do we have a motion to accept this? I have the motion and the second.
I'll make a motion to accept it. Scott?
Do we have a second? We have a motion and a second. Discussion? All right. Seeing none. Kimberly, we do roll call.
Paul Peppel. Larry Munger. Kelly Johnson. Jenny Hager. Colin Geibel. Rick Day. Corey Behrens. Scott Wyman. And Craig Van Beek.
Yes.
All approved.
All right. Brings us to new business. Jeff, do you want to start here? Maybe we can answer some of the questions that were had and shed some light on this.
Sure. Again, the capital investment funding proposal, we've been working on this for approximately, 2 years-ish. We've had a few town halls. We've had an independent third-party engineering firm come in and assess our structures, okay? Originally, and this is kind of what we showed last weekend at the town hall, their scope and their focus was on structures, and the structures with amenities and pools and things of that nature. That came to about a $43 million bill that they said, hey, you've got a problem in a lot of your structures. Now again, we were blessed to have a 10-year capital reserve at $200. That was good, but it was probably 30, 40 years too late, because a lot of the structures, and we're sitting in one right now where the Golden Onion was brought up to the membership for a vote many times, and it was turned down. And it had to be destroyed, condemned, tore down, and this is how we got this building. And then yet we have, comments about we lost our indoor pool, we lost the Onion. That's because membership didn't vote to get it approved and fixed. We're trying to avoid that situation again with the rest of our structures. And the data and the math, as we continue to roll it out, makes sense with, we had $200 in the late 90s, early 2000s. Then it went to the $200 capital reserve on top of that. So it doubled to $400, and you're already paying $200 now in the capital reserve. It's an incremental $450. So when you add it all in with the $200 that's still through perpetuity in the dues, it's $850. So it's gone 2, 4. That's the math says we're not out of line. This ballot is $650. We need the $200 that we're losing in September of next year, and the incremental $450 addresses member feedback, lake amenities, member feedback, amenities, structural feedback from a third-party engineer, and the operations. Nobody wants to talk about the the ugly stuff about paving roads and stuff like that, but when we paved that road from public safety down to here, we've had a ton of people go into Ben and in administration. It's about time, you know, that we're doing a good job with the roads. That wasn't in that original plan. So we took about $2 million out of the plan, added member feedback items, and it's an incremental $450. That's kind of where we're at. The 25 years, we heard the membership during the town hall. You heard some comments tonight. Well, if I'm 65, I'm not going to be here in 25. You're right, you're not. I may not be here in 25 years, but this isn't about me. This is about Sandy Pines, and this is about setting it up for the future. So you don't have to have structures that fall down, because you have structures fall down, your investments start going down, people don't want to come here, they won't invest in the park, campers won't come because it's a dump if we start letting our structures go. I plan on passing this on to my kids and my grandkids. So what you're seeing in the ballot is based on feedback from the board, and Craig can, I don't want to put words in Craig's mouth, but all right, we heard you, maybe 25 years is too long. We have a roadmap for 25 years. What this ballot is saying is we're approving the first 15 years to put on a ballot for the membership to vote on. If you did the math, which I heard someone will share this again at the next town hall, over 25 years, it was about a $25,000 investment if you're here for 25 years. And people were like, oh my gosh. But we're peeling that back to 15 years. We're cutting that in half. If you look at the math, it's about a $12,000 investment. And I can tell you day in and day out, when people buy in and sell and buy, because we're doing these things, it's protecting those investments where your market value of your site and your personal property, your PMRV and everything else is going up and continues to go up. So this is a long-term investment in the park, and that's what we're trying to do. Go ahead, Craig.
So everyone has their own opinion about it, right? Everybody does. We're all not going to ever agree on exactly what it should be, what should be done. So we took an outside organization to come in to look at the things that we need to improve, so it wasn't just our opinion. So we took those, we laid this out, but we heard you. We heard you about the cost in 25 years. Look, if you can envision out that far, that's great. What we realized is that's probably too far for everyone to vision out. It is. And so we thought, let's pull it back to 15 years. So at 15 years, that other 10 years, the plan is still there for future boards to grab onto. One of the board members, Larry, had brought up in a conversation we had the other day was, it's possible in 15 years the park looks a lot different. We talk about the park being a campground. This park's far from a campground. This park is a resort that has camping. That's just a reality. We're not Hungry Horse Campground. We're not like that. We're not like Tri-Ponds. We're a resort that has some camping. And so we don't know what it will look like in 15 years. We don't know the demographics. We don't know what people will want. So it will give an outline, though, for those that board during that time to say, hey, these are the projects that need to be done. So we tried to back it off to 15 years to make it more manageable. We understand financial that everything is tight. We understand that as well. But when you look at the park and you look at our investment, and that's why we wanted to call it an investment, because we're really investing in your investment. Nobody wants to buy in here and sell for less than they bought for, right? Nobody wants to do that. And so we're asking you to invest in Sandy Pines. Look, I love this place. I grew up here. I worked here for 25 years. We came back after trying to serve on the board to make a difference, to help out. I absolutely love the place. Do I want to give up all my money? No. Do I want to make sure we're going to do everything right? Yes, to the best of our ability. So we've had people say, well, it's a blank check. Well, when I send my dues, is that a blank check? Like, we're trying to give you an outline that we need to follow. Can I guarantee everything will be done that year, that thing? No, that's unrealistic. I cannot do that. Do we want to vote every 3 years or 5 years? Do we want to vote on every single project? It's a lot of voting and a lot of work. So we're trying to vision out to be able to do some of these things. And as far as being held accountable, the 10-year capital that we had before, that's our track record. If you want to go through that, Kimberly has done a presentation on that. That's a track record. So we're going to lay that out. You're going to see the things that we want to do. The renderings, the drawings. I know some people don't like it. We probably chose a bad word when we said amphitheater. It probably should have been small stage. So that's probably not going to work, that language. But don't get caught in the minutia of that. Try to vision out. Ask questions. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with asking questions. And like I said, at the end of the day, we may not agree. So our vote here tonight, and we'll let the other board members weigh in if they'd like as well. But our vote tonight, when we get to it, is do we want to put it on the ballot? Then you have your opportunity to vote yes or no. And if it does not pass, then we need to go back as we see not just a loud minority or a few, we see a large minority say, we don't want this, this isn't what we'd like. Then that's our job to go back and to relook at it and to present another plan to you. And so right now, you know, from our conversations the other day, the board is comfortable, as far as I know, they can weigh in here in a second, with what we're doing and what we've looked at. So I'd let anyone weigh in if they would like to. Board members. Sorry.
Yes, I believe we need the money to support our infrastructure, but it's much better if we won at 5 years. You get a chance to give a scorecard to the board members at that time to see if they're fulfilling what they said they're going to do. And if you don't like the work, don't run for the board. If you don't like the work, don't run the park.
Hello. They never let me have the mic. But I can tell you a majority of us, if not all of us, are happy with the 25-year plan. It's going to cover everything that we need to do during that period of time. And we're also happy with how it was set up the first 15 years of what needs to be done on each 5-year section. But we heard you as far as, you know, 25 years, I don't know. I mean, I wish that wouldn't have come into play, because what we're presenting is a good plan that we will be able to follow us through the remaining of our terms, and every other board of director that comes in, it's going to be tagged to that plan. So we've done a lot of work for the future, hopefully, and it continues to follow. At the end of the year, at the end of every year, I'm satisfied with Ms. Kimberly giving us a report saying, this is the amount of capital money that we spent, and you can compare it to our plan. I guarantee you that unless there's an emergency somewhere, we're going to be right on site with what we say we're going to do. So all I ask you is, when you're thinking about this, go away from the 25-year plan. I mean, now we heard you, and so we cut it down to the 15-year plan. And then after 15 years, we hope the next board says, hey, everything worked great. The next plan's laid out for us. Larry brought up an excellent response to us this week when we met, saying, you know what, in 15 years, things might have changed. And actually, we don't know which way it might change. We might not need all of the money. But then again, we don't know how the economy is going to be and how the world's going to be. We might need more. So some of you might want to say, well, let's play it safe and let's go 25 years. Well, we're not going to do that. But the plan is an excellent plan, and it wasn't just the board. We have 4 or 5 other committees of members that have also looked at all of this and went through all of that. And they all said, yeah, do it this way, do it this way, do it this way. And as a whole group, we come up with the 25-year, and we've cut it down to 15. We're not changing anything in the 25-year plan. We're just going to do the first 15 years. And it's a really good plan. You know, we're all members too. We also, I'm going to turn ours over to our grandkids. What are they going to be able to do? I don't know. But the other thing is, we pay, I heard members tell me, well, we spent $4,000 last year. I had members say, well, we spent $3,000 last year out here. I went on a cruise and it cost me $5,000 for a 1 week. I mean, we offer a lot, and all your friends that come out here, they see what you're getting for your money. So open your minds. Don't concentrate so much on the now 15 years, but is what you're going to be paying, is it worth it to you and your family? Thank you.
Hey, it's Colin, the 30-year-old board member. How are you guys? I just wanted to weigh in from somebody who is younger. If you guys paid attention to the demographics that Jeff mentioned at the beginning of this meeting, half or maybe one more than half or one less than half would actually see an entire 25-year capital fund plan see to fruition. I know that I will, Lord willing. So I just want to kind of put that into perspective. I've heard a lot of people, and a lot of people have come up to me and they've said, I don't care, I won't even be around here in 10 years. There's a lot of us that will be, and that number is growing every month that those statistics come out. So as you plan on either selling this place or passing it down to your kids or your grandkids, 25, 15, there's a lot of people that are staring down the barrel of what this place will look like while we are still here. So whether you like it or not, this place needs work, it needs maintenance. It's basically a city in itself, and cities require funding. And I know my grandparents always told me to plan for the future. The last capital investment plan did not have the 3.5% escalator. A lot of people are outraged at that. I'm thrilled to see that. That shows planning, and that we will have less surprise assessments like the dam that really stretch some people thin. So if I could, just open up your mind like Kelly said, and really think about the planning and what it takes to run a place like this.
Anyone else? Jeff, you have anything else, or?
No. Again, I just continue to urge you guys to come to the town halls. We will continue to share the data, and it does make sense.
All right, let me read resolution number 061926A. I will read this whole one. Resolution for Capital Investment Fund Assessment. Whereas the Sandy Pines bylaws, Article 3, membership dues, special assessment, capital assessments, to assess membership provides certain requirements for capital assessments by the Board of Directors. Whereas Article 3, Section 4A of the bylaws states shall be the responsibility of their board to maintain sufficient capital for operation of the business of Sandy Pines and to raise additional capital for the future capital needs of Sandy Pines to facilitate its purposes. All such capital shall be used solely for the capital purposes of Sandy Pines within the stated purposes contained in the Articles of Incorporation of Sandy Pines and the bylaws of Sandy Pines. Accordingly, the board shall have the authority to impose capital assessments upon new members of Sandy Pines, upon any transferee of any membership of Sandy Pines, and upon all current members for any special capital needs for periodic annual capital contribution obligations, and to establish a capital fund, but only in accordance with the terms and provisions of the bylaws. In addition to the above, Board may also allocate any other portion of the revenue from the sale of any property to such capital funds it deems appropriate from time to time. Whereas the Board of Directors of Sandy Pines Wilderness Trails Incorporated proposes to place on the 2026 annual election ballot for the membership of Sandy Pines to decide by a vote on August 15, 2026, the following. The following ballot proposal, if approved, will place the present $200 Capital Reserve Fund assessment expiring on September 30, 2027. Shall the membership approve the amount of $650 per membership for the first 15 years of the 25-year capital investment fund plan. The assessed amount will contain an annual inflation escalator of 3.5% per year for the 15-year period. Collection of annual assessments will be quarterly for each membership throughout the fiscal year over the 15-year period. The resulting accumulated capital investment fund asset shall be dedicated to capital expenditures as listed and reviewed annually on the capital budget estimate beginning fiscal year 27-28 over 15 years for the purpose of making capital improvements to common area depleting infrastructure and amenities in such a way as to maintain the use and financial stability of the park. Projects are identified on document 25-year identified project list 6/19/2026 PDF. All funds collected shall be maintained in a separate account earmarked for capital expenditures and shall not be commingled with a general fund or any other funds. Amounts not expended for the project indicated shall only be expended for capital projects approved by the board. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Directors of Sandy Pines Wilderness Trails Incorporated is hereby approved for a member vote the 2026 annual meeting for the above proposal. Do I have a motion to accept this, to place this on the ballot?
I'll make the motion to accept resolution 061926A.
Do we have a second?
Second, Evil.
Any more conversation? So the only one comment I do have is, I don't know if you touched on this, Jeff, the quarterly that we talked about doing that quarterly. Did you mention that?
No, we did not. So a couple of things to help try and ease the impact of the additional $425 or $450 on this assessment. We did talk financially with our third-party accountants. We can split this up, and it would be a quarterly assessment similar to your unit tax that you have and your electric tax. So you're not, your electrical assessment. So it seems to be a big hit in October for dues, assessments, things of that nature. What happens in November, December, then the holidays come around. So to try and ease that impact, we would take this $650 and divide it into the 4 quarters, and we would do a quarterly assessment to help ease a little bit of that impact. The other thing that I would state on there is in this resolution, it references a document. The document does exist. The document will be shared at the next town hall. This is the document that we've been working on for the last 2 years, and this is the document that we've narrowed it down to this plan. It will be shared. We will have transparency. All of the documents from the town halls, presentations, everything that we've done has been dumped out on our website under the finance page, and it's under the capital investment fund tab. It's all there. Take a look at it, digest it, come with your questions.
Anyone else? All right, we have a motion and a second to place resolution number 061926A on the ballot. Kimberly, we do roll call, please.
Scott Wyman?
Yes.
Corey Behrens?
Yes.
Rick Day?
Yes.
Colin Gable?
Yes.
Jenny Hager? Yes. Kelly Johnson?
Yes.
Larry Munger?
No.
Paul Pepple?
Yes.
And Craig Van Beek.
Yes.
Passed 8-1.
All right, resolution 061926B. Jeff, if you could touch on this and maybe try to answer some of the questions as well.
Yes. So board eligibility, this has been brought up. So we have a members criteria and requirements, right? It's in our handbook. Board of director members really don't have eligibility requirements or criteria other than you can be a member. So we kicked this can a little bit to say, do we hold our board to a higher standard? I think it was brought up earlier about section 4, I believe, where board of directors need to be removed by member vote. That doesn't go away. This that is still in there. This specifically outlines requirements that a board member needs to maintain, and once signing the ethics agreement, they are held accountable to that. And if they go outside of that, then yes, that's another avenue that we can remove a board member. However, we are trying to get our bylaws aligned with Michigan state law. So there's an age requirement for our type of organization, 18 years or older. It's not in our bylaws. We're trying to get that. There's a conduct. Absolutely, there's a conduct. Somebody brought up due process. So if Craig Van Beek gets cited with abuse of staff or a conduct violation, again, I urge the membership to go review the handbook. There's an arbitration process. You get to have your side of the argument. The park has their side of the argument. You get a panel of your peers that get to hear that argument. And then if it's upheld, then yes, then it gets action on, or you get cited and the citation stays. If not, then it gets dismissed and you continue to go about your business. We do have a due process. This does not get rid of our due process for this. This is trying to get our bylaws for board of directors to be at a higher standard and align with some of the state law that's out there for organizations such as ours.
So to touch on we had that 5-year question, so to explain that a little bit better. So if I come in the park in my first year here, I violate one of these things. The abuse of staff was one of the ones that was brought up. If I'm accused of that, I go through arbitration. I found that I am guilty. So for those 5 years after that point, I cannot run for the board of directors. After those 5 years, yes, you're re-eligible to run. The goal is, how I feel about this, is to hold us to a higher standard. Ultimately, when you sit up here and when you sit on a board, Jeff runs the everyday, day-to-day operations. We oversee Jeff. We do not, the people that work here are not our direct employees. Kimberly is not our direct employee. But when you sit on a board and you oversee people, they look at you as leadership. And I think, in my personal opinion, speaking just for myself, not as chair, I think we should be held to a higher standard. I think we should. And I think there is no, this is not meant to remove somebody if they ask questions. You've got to break one of these rules. Questions is not in here. This isn't a way to remove people so we can appoint the people we want. Don't break the rules. It's that simple. So we've laid it out what it is. I think we should be held to a higher standard as a board of directors. I think there should be criteria to be removed if some of these things happen. And so that's, I guess, where I come from, is just I feel that we should be held to a higher standard. Any other board members like to weigh in on this?
My question to, I guess, the chairman is, it says here that the code of ethics is going to be part of our bylaws. Is that so? And are you going to make sure that all of the members have a copy of the code of ethics so that they can see prior to the vote?
Yeah, so everything would be put out. Jeff, you want to jump on that too?
So the code of ethics policy, and typically when somebody wants to run for a board, I know new board members that are up here now, I get them coming into my office. What are the requirements? What are the expectations? We have an orientation document, and we have the code of ethics in that document, or a secondary item in that document, and we walk through that, and we have a candid conversation with, hey, what's my time requirement? How many times do you meet? What does this mean in the code of ethics? What does that mean? And, you know, I think, again, we've got two new board members up here. We went through those conversations and discussions. So is it posted out there? It is not posted out there. Does the document exist? Yes, it does exist. It's going to get amended from time to time. Again, the one that we have now that this group has signed is going to get amended because of a state law issue that an organization like us has to follow. So it's going to get amended from time to time. You want to see that document? I've had members want to see that document. I have no issues sitting down with you and walking through that document. Does it leave that office? It leaves that office if you become a board member, but it doesn't leave that office because, again, it could be amended and you may have an incorrect document.
The second thing I have is on the Code of Conduct's paper, the very last line or section says, Section 7, Michigan liquor license requirements. In order to retain Sandy Pines liquor licenses, all directors shall comply with all requirements of the Michigan Liquor Control Code of 1998, MCL 436-1101, set stage as it may be amended from time to time. Our board members going to be trained in what they required of to holding our liquor license?
Yeah, will you explain what he's talking about?
Yeah. So, what Larry, that document is that document isn't here, right? But that is a portion of the policy. We have a liquor license now at the golf course. Okay, you can go out and read the liquor license and the requirements for a liquor license. Originally, when we went through this process, Kimberly and I, in order to get our liquor license, they wanted us to sign an affidavit and a statement that every single one of our members is 18 years of age or older, doesn't have a DUI, doesn't have a conflict as a restaurant manager owner, doesn't have a conflict owning their own liquor license, they don't own a bar, and we're like, we can't do that. So originally what we've tried to do is have Kimberly and I, or the president and CFO, sign that document and attest to there's no conflict. Because what they look for is, if we're going to give you a liquor license, do you have a drinking problem? Do you have a driving problem? Do you have multiple bars that are in conflict with this? That's what they're looking for, so you don't break the law. So it got narrowed down to board of directors. So that's how we got our liquor license at the golf course. And if a board member has a drinking DUI, they have a conflict with any of those requirements, you own a bar, you own a restaurant, you have a habitual drinking problem, we lose our liquor license. That's what we're trying to align here. So that's in the policy. We have to hold our board members accountable to that, and then if that happens while they're on the board, they have to resign. It's either a board member or we lose our liquor license. That's why we're making this change.
And then two, all of these things that we've talked about inside of here, this affects no board member here or no one running, just so you understand. There's no one going to be eliminated from running. This is all future. There's nobody here that will be eliminated, nobody running. So this is just all in the future, just to hold people accountable. Any other questions? All right, if not, I need a motion to place resolution number 061926B. Oh, I have to read this whole one, don't I?
You got to read it.
I should have brought a water tonight. I did not bring a water this time. No, you probably backwashed in there. All right, if you'll stay with me. Resolution number 061926B, resolution to amend bylaws regarding board eligibility. Whereas the Sandy Pines bylaws, the bylaws Article 8, membership dues, Section 1 provides as follows. Section 1, number of directors, there shall be 9 directors. Directors must be members in good standing with no monies or fees past due to Sandy Pines throughout their tenure in office. Whereas the Board of Directors believes it is the best interest of Sandy Pines to establish additional eligibility requirements in order to serve as a director. Whereas the Board of Directors of Sandy Pines Wilderness Trails Incorporated proposes to place on the 2026 annual election ballot for the membership of Sandy Pines to decide by a vote on August 15, 2026, the following. The following ballot proposal, if approved, will replace Article 8, Section 1 of the bylaws so that it shall read as follows. Section 1, number of directors, eligibility for office. There shall be 9 directors. In order to be eligible to serve as a director, the following requirements shall be met. A, the director shall be a member in good standing with no money or fees past due to Sandy Pines throughout the tenure of office. B, the director shall be at least 18 years of age as required by the Michigan Nonprofit Corporation Act. And C, during or before the annual September Board Directors meeting, all directors shall annually sign the Sandy Pines Board of Directors Code of Ethics policy as it may be amended from time to time. D, the director shall not have been cited for any violation of Article 6, Conduct Rules, Section G3, which prohibits verbal or physical abuse, harassment, threats, domestic violence, or abuse, and stalking of a member, staff, or guests during a term of office or in the preceding 5 years of the term of office. A director who does not meet all the requirements shall be automatically removed from office, with a vacancy to be filled, if at all, pursuant to Article 8, Section 7 of the bylaws. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Directors of Sandy Pines Wilderness Trails does hereby approve for a member vote at the 2026 annual meeting the above proposal. Do I have a motion to place this on the ballot?
Yes, I'll make a motion to put resolution 061926B on the ballot. I'll support that.
With a motion and support, is there any further discussion with the board? Kimberly, roll call for this, please.
Corey Behrens? Yes. Rick Day? Yes. Colin Geibel? Yes. Jenny Hager? Yes. Kelly Johnson? Yes. Larry Munger? No. Paul Pepple? Yes. Craig Van Beek?
Yes.
Scott Wyman?
Yes.
Approved 8-1.
Resolution 061926C DEX. Jeff, will you touch base on this, please?
I need some water too.
You
So
want Scott's? You want Scott's?
No, it's got backwash. Let me pull this up here. So this is DEX and aligning again with the state of Michigan Eagle structures letter and requirements. So the red items on here are the new items. I had some write-in questions with, if you go through here, the park inspector approves the size. The park inspector has a lot of say in this. So if you read the letter, and this was some of the member feedback when we got into some of the Eagle stuff with our members. If you can fit it on your lot, there's no deck requirement whatsoever. And that's really new from Eagle. Now, you still have to follow the Michigan Residential Builders Code when you get above a certain amount of square footage. But what the park inspector and what the park inspector's office is doing is, it's really weird. Sometimes we'll get a permit for a 200 square foot deck, and then after it's built, when we go out there to sign off on it, it's an 800 square foot deck. So, and if you go from 200 above that, you have to get a PCI permit, and they have to come out and approve those. So really what the park inspector's office is doing is validating what you're building. There is no requirement. They are also validating, again, the normal setbacks and things of that nature. So the items in red are new. This went through or updated. This went through our Rules Committee as well. This is a recommendation from our Rules Committee. The items in black are the items that were in the existing rule that are staying. But this is to give the members something back. If you don't want to mow your lawn and it fits inside, you can build an entire deck for your lawn. I don't want to freak Jim out. He's sitting in the back. But that's what we're trying to do is give the members something back on the decks.
Any board member have any question on this? So Jeff, if we do this tonight, it's going into effect on June 26th. Is that correct? Are we putting this out to talk about again, just so I understand exactly?
So we have June 26th on there simply to give us some time to update the handbook and post it and things of that nature. So technically we've had a bunch of members want it approved now because they're waiting on permits.
Okay.
That's really the down and dirty on it. They want it approved now if we can get it moving.
Okay, let me read this and then we'll do a motion in a second and then we'll do any more conversation. Resolution number 061926C, resolution to amend rulebook handbook. Whereas rules section 4, items requiring 2 permits, Sandy Pines and Township, subsection C, decks, railings, and steps must be updated. You guys are amazing people. Thank you very much. Must be updated to new Eagle 2026 structures letter requirements. Whereas the Board of Directors for Health and Safety and Welfare of Sandy Pines believe it is in the best interest of Sandy Pines to amend and clarify the rule and regulations. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Directors of Sandy Pines Wilderness Trails Incorporated does hereby approve the following amendments and/or additions to the rules and regulations relating to Section 4, items requiring 2 permits, Sandy Pines and Township, subsection C, decks, railings, and steps on Sandy Pines rules, regulations, and bylaws handbook, page 43. Number 1, all decks require a permit or permits prior to construction. Member or members must submit a drawing showing dimensions, location, and setbacks. Proposed construction shall be clearly marked on site with flags, stakes, paint, or other approved markers prior to inspection and approval. Number 3, combined total area of all deck or decks on a site shall not exceed the approved maximum permitted square footage. Number 4, multiple decks connected by walkways, landing, steps, or framing shall be considered one deck. Number 5, deck posts must be flush with the ground and must rest on a minimum of 8-inch diameter and a 4-inch thick concrete block or approved material. Block or approved material must be buried so the top is flush with the ground. No cement is allowed for any part of construction. Number 6, all setbacks must be maintained. Number 7, no roof, wall, enclosure room, or storage area may be constructed above or upon a deck except approved railings, stairs, and permitted approved shade structures. Number 8, guardrails or handrails are required on open sides of stairways or steps which exceed 30 inches in height above ground. The rails must be 34 inches to 38 inches high as measured vertically along with the hosing of the tread. Number 9, metal hangers must be used for all floor joists. Number 10, modifications or enlargements require approval. Number 11, wood decks and/or wood walkways are permitted to extend to a lot line. However, it must be no higher than 5 inches from ground level. Amended 6/14/2013. Number 12, construction debris shall not be disposed of in Sandy Pines waste removal facilities or dumpsters. Member or members and contractors are responsible for the removal and lawful disposal of constructed related debris. Any dumpster brought onto Sandy Pines property for a project shall be removed from the park premises upon completion of work. Be it resolved that the Board of Directors of Sandy Pines Wilderness Trails Incorporated does hereby approve this above resolution. Will it take effect on June 26, 2026? Do I have a motion? Second was Larry. Any more conversation on this? Seeing none, Kimberly, will you do roll call, please?
Larry Munger. Yes. Paul Peppel. Yes. Craig Van Beek.
Yes.
Scott Wyman. Yes. Corey Behrens. Yes. Rick Day. Yes. Colin Gable. Yes. Jenny Hager. Yes. And Kelly Johnson. Yes. All approved.
Jeff, as we continue on to resolution 061926D, seepage pits.
Yes, so this also came from our Rules Committee. our seepage pits, so Sandy Pines, because we were established in 1971, we can still use seepage pits. Anybody in 1978 or newer, or more recent, we have to have sewer systems. We don't want to go to sewer systems. That's going to be a killer, right, from a dollar perspective. So this is to ensure that we are maintaining our seepage pits, and if it's replaced, these are the new requirements. What's happening is your seepage pits back in the day didn't account for all the stuff that we have now in park model trailers and all the stuff that we're putting on our site. So we're making them a little larger, and we're clearly gonna define the seepage pit stone that goes in there, because what's happening now is the seepage pit stone is smaller than what it should be, and basically it just collapses and closes, and it doesn't allow the drainage. And we've got antibacterial soaps in there, we've got grease, you got a bunch of city slickers that come out here and pour the grease down, and anybody that has a septic are going, no, don't do that. That's actually happening in our park, and what's happening is it's closing up those seepage pits, and now we have to build a new one and a new one, and we need to make certain that we're maintaining what we have, and if we construct new ones, we have to do it better, because we don't ever want to have somebody come in and say your seepage pits are no longer good, and we're going to force you into a sewer system. That's the premise of this, and Craig, if you want to read through it again, this one was a recommendation from the Rules Committee to do our process, to read it, and then come back to it in the July board meeting.
Any questions on this before I read it? As we said, it will set until the next meeting to be voted on. So item 3, the red is the amended language. All right. You want me to read all of this? Thanks.
Do existing language and amended, yes. That's it.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you very much. Item 3, the existing language for resolution number 061926D, resolution to amend rulebook handbook. The existing language says the hole must be dug so it will accommodate the drum with 6 inches of 1-inch stone all around and a 12-inch of stone at the bottom. The amended language in item 3 now will state the hole must be dug so it will accommodate the drum with a minimum of 12 inches to 18 inches of approved seepage stone surrounding the drum, a minimum of 18 inches of the seepage stone below the drum, and a minimum total of 2.5 cubic yards of seepage stone. Jeff, to continue on, a resolution 061926E, concrete pads.
So again, this was reviewed by our Rules Committee. We don't get a lot of requests for concrete pads in the park, but we did get one this year, and we actually sent this rule out to 4 different people to try and understand what the member actually wanted based on this rule, and we got 4 different answers. So the Rules Committee is looking to tighten this language up a little bit with some clear, more direct language in here. I would say there's been a lot of talk on item 9 on here, and you heard it on decks, where construction debris shall be disposed of in shall not be disposed of in Sandy Pines waste removal facilities, dumpsters. Members and/or contractors are responsible for the removal and lawful disposal of the materials. We go for the construction debris. Any dumpster brought into or onto Sandy Pines property for a project shall be removed from the park premises upon completion of the work. So what happens outside Sandy Pines when you do a construction project? Do they throw your decks right next to your garbage disposal, or your garbage, your dumpsters at the side of the curb, and then let waste management pick it up? No, they don't. They bring in a dumpster and they haul the material away. If you would like, next month I can bring shots and shots of our dump with. I don't have room for a 1,200 square foot deck in my area, but if somebody's ripping it up, they're taking it to the dump and they're leaving it there, and our compactors are getting absolutely destroyed, and that's costing everybody here additional money. So what we do outside in the construction business is you rent a dumpster, you put all the debris in that dumpster, and then you haul it away, and that's part of the cost of the construction project. And that's really what we need to start going to, because our compactors are a disaster right now. We've had to have motors replaced. You can't get around them at times. And so item 9 was a huge push from our rules committee, which we would agree and the board would agree on. So this is just to clearly identify the language on concrete pads to eliminate some of the questions that were out there. And again, you could probably read the existing language and amended, because their recommendation is to let this one marinate until next board meeting as well.
Anyone have any questions on this one? As Jeff said, it's just really to clean up the language. When he brought that to me and explained, I said, no, that's not what that says. And so we just saw it very different. And so we wanted to clear that up and clean the language up so it was a little bit easier to understand. I'll read the existing language and then I'll read the amended. Resolution number 061926E. Existing language: concrete pads will be allowed on sites to park your camping unit on. Pads must be at least 4 inches thick and each must be individually approved by the park inspector. The following conditions must be completed before you'll be allowed to add a cement slab. Cement slab is to park camping unit on only, must have a park permit, provide drawing of area to have cement, must provide type and size of camping unit to be placed on cement, must stake out area to have cement. Cement trucks will not be allowed on Sandy Pines roadways in July and August, must have approval of inspector to begin work after the above are completed, must remove all concrete from Sandy Pines and have it recycled, and bring verification from recycling location showing it was recycled, must sign an agreement before work can begin. Now you can understand we wanted the language cleaned up if you just heard what I said. So amended language: a concrete pad is permitted solely for the support and placement of one recreational camping unit. Number 1, permit required prior to construction. Number 2, location, dimensions, and layout must be approved by the park inspector. Number 3, only one concrete pad per camping unit unless approved in writing. Number 4, pad shall not exceed beyond the footprint reasonably necessary to support the camping unit. Number 5, all setbacks must be maintained. Number 6, concrete pads shall not exceed 4 inches of thickness. Number 7, removal or replacement requires approval. Number 8, must comply with seasonal construction restrictions. Number 9, construction debris shall not be disposed of in Sandy Pines waste removal facility or dumpsters. Member or members and contractor or contractors are responsible for the removal and lawful disposal of all construction-related debris. Any dumpster brought onto Sandy Pines property for a project shall be removed from the park premises upon completion of work. So this will set until our next meeting. Brings us to this meeting will be adjourned, then member question and answer. And my first one I'm going to answer is D128's question as soon as we jump out of here. So we need a motion to adjourn this meeting. We have a motion to support. All in favor to adjourn, say yes. Yes. Any opposed, same sign. We stand adjourned. D128, I forgot your first name, I apologize. Jeff. So Jeff, if we were beholden to the OMA, I would have answered you. So we're not beholden to the OMA or Robert's rules. So his procedural question is not really a question, it's a challenge of how we are doing procedure, is what he was doing. So that would have required an answer if I was in my commissioner role. If you would have said that in a commissioner meeting, we would have had to answer that challenge. But because the park's a private entity, not for profit, they don't really run by Robert's rules. It's more of like a Robbie's rules maybe, or so they're not beholden to the OMA. And so that's, if you're very versed in that, that's why some of our things look a little bit different. So that is why, what that is. So Jeff, I will let you take over.
Okay, so Q&A, standard procedure, step up to the mic. We have 30 minutes after the board meeting, starting the clock now. Name, site number, and we are going to try and limit the time. Town hall, we had a lot of people. We had a small amount of people talking a lot, and not everybody got to ask questions. So we'll try and cap it at 2 minutes. Go.
Hey, I'm Tim Bickings. I'm from Site 4294, and I like Mr. Chairperson's comment on being friends and, you know, answering questions. And my goal here is to be friendly. I came here with one question, but after the meeting, I probably have 6. So first of all, the ethics agreement, being on the board of directors, I definitely agree with that. But I also heard somebody mention an NDA. My question is, does the board of directors sign an NDA agreement?
They sign a ethics and confidentiality.
Well, confidentiality is an NDA agreement.
I understand.
Okay, so the answer is yes, they do sign an NDA agreement.
They sign a confidentiality agreement and code of ethics.
So the answer is yes, they sign an NDA. Typically, being on a board of directors, you do not have to sign an NDA. An NDA agreement is used from business to business to protect proprietary information. So I'm curious why, if you're transparent, why you need an NDA. And you don't have to answer that. Now I'd like to ask my other questions. You mentioned a liquor license. I was unaware that Sandy Pines purchased a liquor license. What year did you purchase it?
We just went through that process during the off season. You want to answer that? You did all the work on it.
The license is actually held under Lake Monterey Golf Course, EIN, so I will clarify that. They did have a liquor license before. The distinction is they now have a Class C liquor license, which was approved by the township, went through many different additional steps, and there's an investigator and inspector that came out. We have regular tests where they'll send someone, stings, that's the word, to the golf course, but it is held under the golf course name. But because Sandy Pines Wilderness Trails, I'm employed under Sandy Pines Wilderness Trails EIN, but I still manage the operations of Lake Monterey Golf Course as a consolidated entity.
Okay, but my question was the liquor license purchased within the last 12 months?
Yes.
Okay, what was the cost of the liquor license?
Yeah, so we've got multiple different. I can give you that cost if you want to stop in, but
no, I want it during this meeting. What was the cost of the liquor license?
I don't have that cost in front of me.
What's an approximate cost? Because you giving it to me in private is not the same as you telling the members, because the members paid for that liquor license. Okay? You, on this side of the wall, you bought a liquor license on our behalf, and you bought it without us knowing about it. So most liquor licenses are $50,000 to $75,000.
So let's
Did you pay more than $50,000?
We did not pay more than $50,000.
Okay, then that's close enough.
But I want to address a comment that you just made. Okay, we've had a liquor license at Lake Monterey Golf Course. That's where this is at. We are expanding an existing liquor license that the entire membership has been taking advantage of for many years. We're just expanding that same liquor license outside of what we have today to include, we can serve beer, wine, and the packaged drinks, your mixers that are in cans. So all we're doing is taking the existing liquor license and expanding it to another level.
Did you pay more than $30,000 for the liquor license?
No, it was under $1,000. Well, I'm adding up. It was close to $1,000 for the multiple different permits on that license. But I also want to make one other clarification. Sandy Pines membership pays an assessment to the golf course. The cost of that liquor license actually came out of Lake Monterey operations, which is separate from Sandy Pines.
Well, the only correlation I was going to draw with that, per your financial statements, the sales annually for food and beverage was $21,000 at the golf course. So I just wanted to find out if the liquor license exceeded the annual sales of food and beverage. Okay. So my next question would be, Whitman Ward did the site plan, and you said in the meeting tonight you started that 2 years ago. I know what site plans typically cost because I buy them, and most site plans, based on what you had showed us, would be between $200,000 and $250,000. What do you pay for the site plan that you?
So again, I want to clarify. We hired Whitman last summer.
Sorry, this died on me.
So Whitman was hired in May, actually April of 2007. So it wasn't 2 years ago. My comment has been, this team has been working on this project for 2 years. Right now, and we've disclosed the numbers in our professional our professional services on our financials. Right now, it's $75,000 to $80,000 is what we've been paying them over the last year and a half.
Okay, but they're probably still not done with it. So you're into it for $80,000, and you may spend another 20 to 25 before you cap it. So the point that I'm making is, and then I'm going to sit down after this because I still had more questions, but the point that I'm making is at the town hall meeting, you used the word kick the can down the road. I heard that at least 6 times.
Mm-hmm.
I also heard about making sure you take care of buildings. I heard about buildings, when you get them quoted, they might be $1 million, but they end up being $3 million. And the only point that I'm trying to make, if you spent $80,000 of membership money on a site plan for a proposal for a 25-year investment of $40 million, that's $80,000 of our membership money that was spent at your direction.
Yep.
And I really would like to see a board. I'd like to see members run for the board. I'd like for the members to have common sense. I'd like for the members to live by the KISS program, keep it simple. And I really would like to see the vision be less than 5 years, 1 to 3 years. And as far as the building of the buildings and stuff, so they don't have cost overruns, if you collect the money that you need for a capital expenditure, and you know you need to do it the next 24 months, if you have that money set aside and you go out for a quote, the quote has an expiration date on it, usually of 60 days. If you sign that quote and sign that contract within that expiration date, there can be no cost overrun without your approval, because all cost overruns are done by engineering change orders. So that's the only thing I'm trying to say.
I understand the process. I've done this for many years as well. And, I'm hired to run the operations, and feedback from members was transparency and secret squirrel. That's what's been done at this park before. And if it's done in the room with just the board members and the operations, we don't believe it. So we chose to get a third-party individual involved. We all did that through our our process. So these are all great comments. What I would encourage you to do then is to join the finance committee, join a long-range planning committee, because it sounds like you've got a lot of knowledge in this, and then you can see the process that we've done. This wasn't a secret squirrel thing. These were recommendations from those committees to go get a third-party assessment. This wasn't just done out of my office.
No, I'm not saying it's done out of your office, and I'm going to end my conversation here, but the only thing that I'm trying to say, you know, we've been here at the park in excess of 25 years now, in 2 different sites, and I've never had somebody come and ask for a $40 million tax assessment that can buy a liquor license, that can spend $80,000 for a site plan, that can do all these things without members' approval. And that's my only point, is I like to keep it simple. Like Craig's comment about keeping things, you know, between friends. And between friends, you discuss that stuff. And that's the only point I'm trying to make. So anyway, God bless you guys. I don't want any issues, but elders run the church. Okay, you know, they have the pastors. The board of directors act as an elder, essentially.
Yep.
And I don't think my church would buy a liquor license.
Okay.
That's all I wanted to
Thank
say.
you. Thank you. Next. Again. Hey, Jeff.
I'm back again.
Yeah.
Jeff Colbert, D128. So something interesting just happened. Tim, 25 years ago, was my boss. And just to meet him, again, is just amazing. So he ran an amazing organization. I meant knows business inside and out. So please take his budget.
That's why I encouraged him to join the committees.
Well, his budgetary, I meant his budget is, you know, knew where every cent was. So I meant please take that with some reverence. So
Yep.
Hats off to Tim. So I'll get back to my soapbox here if I can start it up again. So the meeting's over. So let's be clear about where we're at with this process and why accountability matters and why we need to be very careful when stating that Sandy Pines is not a campground. That was from on the board, exactly. So if we take that, Eagle will come in, you will get septic, you will get taxes. Messaging matters. Please be very careful because we are a campground. If you want to say we're not, this is peanuts. The assessments will, the state of Michigan will love us. They'll come in and just say, here's your taxes on each one, septic, sewer, everything. So please, let's try to be consistent with that message.
Yeah,
So-
Jeff, you're right, because we want to live under the umbrella of a campground, there's no question. You are correct with that.
Okay. So, especially, you know, especially when it comes from the board, I think we need to kind of mute that. So, Matthew chapter 20, 25 through 28, Jesus taught us leaders are not supposed to be above those who lead. Whoever wants to become great among you must be your servant. The principle is that authority exists to serve others, not to insulate themselves from them. Biblical leadership is measured by how much authority is accumulated, but how faithfully leaders remain. Listen, the board has already voted, and based on the resolutions that were published, amendments A and B were approved 8-1. There was only one, and they're going to be placed on the ballot. Today's meeting is not about whether these amendments will appear on the ballot. The decision has already been made. No questions asked today changes the fact that the proposals have already been approved for by the submission of the membership. The focus should not be on convincing the board. For Amendment A, members should understand that the board's authority to redirect unspent capital funds to another capital project without a membership vote. Amendment B, members should understand that signing a board-controlled ethics. So they're controlling the document that says they must adhere to. So I don't want to say fox in the hen house, but you know, that's, But someone did bring up about the code of ethics going into the bylaws. And if the code of ethics does go into the bylaws, that has to be revised and voted upon, I believe. So the code of ethics then will roll over into a membership vote. Trust is important, but accountability is biblical. And it's up to us to look at all of these amendments, if I can put all this away, just to kind of shoot from the hip. These amendments will fundamentally change Sandy Pines. They kind of said it already. It won't be a campground. It's a resort. So where I came from in Texas, they had this little community, 600-acre lake, 18-hole golf course, very nice. And the dues weren't too bad. They wanted to build a, what was it called? Pavilion, thank you. And the pavilion was about $500,000. Pretty nice, right? We ended up being $2.2 million. Then they said they couldn't afford it to maintain it. So then they said our monthly dues have to go up $200 a month. So you can see the parallel. So part of it is, what do we want to be? I'd like to have every road paved, just everything smooth, everything nice. Do I need that thing? No. Do I need not the amphitheater, but do I need that? I don't think so. But I'm the new person here, right? We have friends that have been here 40 years. They've seen the evolution. They want the improvements to maintain it. But the board even said, don't separate yourself from your neighbor. What makes Sandy Pines great is the camaraderie. We've only been here a short period of time, but it's amazing the friends that will come over and just stop what they're doing and help you. You talk about demographics. The place that we came from, there was a lot of 50, 60, 70-year-olds. Within 10 years, it got so expensive. The average age went from 63 to 37. So part of that is, well, yeah, let's go here. Let's pay the extra money. So just be careful. But it's up to us now. Now that they've voted, they said it 8-1. This is what we want. Now it's up to us to come up and say, read the amendments. Talk to your neighbors. Talk, and talk. That's the best thing that you can do. So thank you very much, board, for all the work, because it is a huge amount of work. I've been on way too many boards, and it's a lot of unthankful work that you guys do in a lot of time. So I personally thank you, and I appreciate it, and I'm going to go sit down.
Jeff, I just want to say thank you for bringing up scripture. That just warms this pastor's heart right here. So you can bring up scripture anytime.
Jody 4008, and I also want to thank you, board, because you're doing a great job. And we hired the board. We voted on this board. So yes, they have been given the decision to make decisions on our behalf. So thank you.
Just please give us name and scripture.
It's a test. Ellen Carpenter, site 1073. My two things, I'll make them real quick. We talk about the NDA for the board. When I was on the board, we signed confidentiality. One of the key things that covered was member discipline, and that rolls into the issue with conduct. Okay, if somebody has a conduct issue, the board's going to know about it. They're not supposed to tell. Same way, this is why this amendment going, or the bylaws going on to be voted on is very important, because you can vote people off, general election. Is it your business to know that Kelly violated a rule, that somebody was cited? No, it's not your business. That's where this comes into play. The other thing I wanted to say, they talked about nobody's going to be here 25 years. This is my 25th year. And I'm going to tell you, I have spent a lot more than $25,000 in 25 years to improve and maintain my site. And I drive around, I see new park models, I see fancy patios. Why aren't we willing to invest in the park? Only in our site, just my little place. Why aren't we willing to invest in the same way in this park? Thanks.
I won't ask for scripture again. Don't worry. There you go, Bob. There you go.
Bob Skippers, 6070. I'm just curious on our large cash reserve, is it invested in a money market or CDs, or what interest are we getting on that, $5 million?
Yes, part of, well, our operation cash is split between a money market and our regular checking account. So we regularly balance that back and forth because we only have one checkbook. And then the second account is a money market to build interest on that. Then we also do, if you look at the face of the balance sheet, we also have a Charles Schwab account made up of 3 different investments.
And approximately what interest are you getting on that money market?
I would have to go back and look at
1,
that right now.
2, 3, or 4? Approximately.
Somewhere in that range.
I think you should look at some short-term CDs at 4%.
Thank you.
It's Paul Whitty again, but I'm not going to announce my site number. But I'd like to thank whoever puts the scavenger hunts together. We've been trying to get on that scavenger hunt the last few years, and we finally made it.
Nice. That would be under Ian. That would be under Ian's direction back there. He's the
Good
scavenger
job,
hunt guru. So.
Actually, Jan McCulloch and her family that does it. So shout out to Jan for all of that. She does a great job with all that.
I'd like to, just a marketing plug too. There is an extreme expert edition, if you haven't heard about that. That's the one we made. So if you watch my cart as we leave.
Or every previous meeting when he's got up and spoke. Find it that way too.
All right. We still have a little bit of time. It's been one of the longer ones. We had a lot to go over. And just as I say that, we get another contestant to the mic.
Anna Marie Reiskamp, quite new, 6058, I think. Yeah. I just want to say that the resolution for the bylaw change concerning the board, I think it was B, is worded so vaguely that it's, in my opinion, asking for trouble in the future. This board is all good, and like he said, he's okay to be held by higher standards, and that sounds nice as long as you don't define the standards. If somebody comes in and says, this is my standard, anyone who disagrees with us oversteps the standard, then you're in trouble. It opens up can of worms, but mostly bad people can come in and take over. The way it's worded now, it should be, the definitions should be way clearer. Thank you.
Thank you. Guys are quiet. It's a beautiful night. We've got 2 minutes. You want to end early? Give you 2 minutes back? Okay. All right, let's call it a night. Great questions. Thank you for attending. You guys have a blessed weekend.
Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you.